Throughout all of art history, we have seen many iconic figures. Some of the most famous pieces in history are depictions of the Virgin Mary, different female rulers, and different queens. However, the one iconic figure that stands out the most is that of the goddess of love, Venus. Venus has been depicted in different pieces of artwork as early as classical Greek and Roman times. The most impressive thing about this figure is that even though she is a classical subject matter, her image is still very popular amongst contemporary society. In the book, Manifestations of Venus, Art and Sexuality, the author, Caroline Arscott, and others have a very brief description of the Venus figure. A goddess of love, she encompassed that which is the most threatening and most unrepresentable: sexuality, productivity, and desire. Furthermore, Venus' association with the sea from which she was born played an important role in linking her myth to common conceptions of women and femininity. The sea itself was a metaphor for the uncomfortable ebbs and flows of female reproduction, and specifically for the taboo subject, menstruation. Idealizing the female body to make a successful image of Venus meant transforming it, elevating it, to repress and contain these associations. When painted successfully, Venus was meant to be idealized in which female sexuality and the productivity of female body were brought under control. While the male artists used Venus as a tool for suppression, many women saw her as an empowering symbol for femininity and sexuality. She is, in fact, the quintessential power female figure. The first Venus piece we are going to cover is by William Adolphe Bouguereau and is simply titled The Birth of Venus. This is considered to be one of Bouguereau's most iconic pieces, and what makes it more iconic is that he borrows ideas from Botticelli's Birth of Venus, as well as Raphael's The Triumph of Galatea. This was painted in 1879 during the neoclassical period, as it was a revival of classical ideas as well as subject matter, which is why he borrowed ideas from two Renaissance artists. This piece was created for the Salon in France and was eventually awarded the Grand Prix de Rome. The iconography of the piece is that Venus is in the center as she is seen transforming from the sea by dolphins. We can see many putti along the several nymphs and centaurs are awaiting her arrival as they are gazing at her lovely figure. The second depiction of Venus we see is by Odilon Redon, and his piece is also called The Birth of Venus. Although this work was created in 1912, less than 50 years after the first piece by Bouguereau, we see the styles used by each artist are very different from each other. This piece by Redon was created during the Impressionistic period and is not very realistic depiction, but has a softer color palette as well as more dreamlike vision of Venus. Redon was famous for his black and white paintings, but he eventually moved on to softer palette colors. He eventually made 6 different versions of the Birth of Venus. The iconography of this piece is simply that of Venus being born out of a shell as a fully matured woman. At the bottom left-hand corner, we see that there are different types of seashells on what looks like sand, which can depict the sea or the place from which she was born from. What catches the viewer's attention is how similar the shell from which Venus is coming out from looks like a female genitalia. This could be a direct reference to the fact that Venus is considered to be the symbol of fertility, love, and romance. What really drives this point home is that during the time that this was painted, many artists, including Redon, were fascinated with the Freudian psychology and the interpretation of dreams.